I think first and foremost, if you look at the history of conflicts and wars all over the world, I think I can confidently say that oftentimes, maybe over 80%, at the end of the day, like it or not, they are settled at conference tables. Huh? Sometimes they say diplomacy accompanied by force, and sometimes it is force accompanied by diplomacy. Namely, it is human beings who are involved in these things. It is human beings who start wars, and therefore it is human beings. And so you can't have peace when you are shooting at each other, And therefore, at the end of the day, we just have to find ways and means, I think maybe that is something that, a criminal is a criminal, and therefore, but we know that in the history of humanity, criminals has also changed. It is possible for them, and it is possible, and that is actually for us, Christians. What we are celebrating, the Easter, if there were no sin in the world, God would not have taken our human nature. It is to reconcile us to himself. And I think St. Paul puts it very nicely, namely that, that God, sent his son to come and reconcile us to him, to come and die for us, even while we were still sinners. I think that should be marked. And therefore, I am simply saying that, look, it is human beings who are involved. It's not spirits who are involved in this banditry or whatever. And if it is human beings, you have no idea why a lot of them took to banditry. In the same manner that you have no idea. Yesterday I saw it on television, about 300 plus. What the government is doing with the Boko Haram, those who come back. I think they have a center in Gombe. Yesterday, I think they graduated about 300 and over 300 plus, and they have been doing that. Those who voluntarily come back, and therefore they help them. They help them. I think you can link it to why we change from prison to correctional, isn't it? I think you can link that. The whole idea is that people can change. You never can tell why they engage in what made them in the first place to go to prison. And therefore, you can't do that by not talking to them. You can do that. It is only when you engage them, you get to know their situation, their true situation, and why they, in the first place, got involved in this kind of situation. And therefore, if something can be done, if people are sincere, if it can bring about reconciliation, I think that is it. And therefore, yes, I think we all have different ideas, and we are different. Every human being is unique, and therefore, finding yourself where you are and in your situation, you will try to see how you can help. And so, if you ask, if I will suggest that, to others, every governor, they are all seeing, they are all knowing. They know what their people are going through, and therefore, every leader, every governor should be thinking of how do I bring about peace in my community, if this thing continues and people cannot go too far, I don't know where we will end. And so, what I'm simply saying is that it is human beings who commit crimes, who are involved, who are doing these things, and therefore, I think, the talking to one another is far better than not talking to one another. Talking to each other is far better than killing each other. And therefore, if, talking, and it is hope that talking will lead us to something positive, and so I think that would be my response to that. All we want is, let there be peace. Let there be an enabling environment for citizens to live their normal lives, to be able to go about their economic activities without fear of anything, So that is what we are waiting. So it is for governors now, or for those who are in leadership position, to explore what are the ways and means, and there's big talk. The military, even the military themselves, who have the guns, whose training is to what they talk about non-kinetic approach, and therefore, so whatever can be done to bring about peace, it cost the life of his son, Jesus Christ, to reconcile us to the Father. And I repeat, he did that while we are still sinners. And Paul says it very clearly. He didn't wait for us. He didn't wait for us to repent. And look at, yesterday, it was Good Friday. Jesus, hanging on the cross. He didn't wait for those who were, in whose hands he was dying. He prayed for them. And not only did he pray for them, he found excuses for them. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. To a very large extent, when he engaged people who are involved in crime, it's not everybody. A lot of them do it deliberately. For a lot of them, it's a chosen profession. But I can assure you, there are lots and lots and lots who got themselves there without even knowing why in the first place they are there. And therefore, I think this is where dialogue is key. Dialogue is important. We can't do without dialogue. It is dialogue that opens up vistas and helps us to be able to overcome things that we normally would not.